go!
The sun is setting here on the Palouse, but the day is a new day as a new season begins in women's soccer. And the Washington State Cougars, always so dangerous, host the Big Ten champion Minnesota Golden Gophers inside the new and improved Lower Soccer Field here on the Pac-12 Network. And welcome inside, everybody. Welcome to the 2017 season. Troy Clarity with you. So glad you decided to spend part of your Friday evening here with us. And let's talk about the Cougs. Always entertaining to watch, and they've got a super sophomore helping to lead the way for them this year in Morgan Weaver from University Place, Washington. Led the Cougs in goals, points, and shots last year. But it's not just quantity, it was quality. She can score and do big things in the run of play like this. The golden goal in double overtime to beat the Arizona State Sun Devils. One of 8 goals for Weaver last year, landing her on the Pac-12 all-freshman team, although still probably a bit underrated in the grand scheme of things. She and the Washington State Cougars will face the Minnesota Golden Gophers, led by one of their captains, Emily Heslin. The birthday girl just turned 21 on Monday. Scored just 1 goal last year, but it was a big one. The game winner against Rutgers in the Big Ten title game. She will not be outworked, and she is super dynamic in the field. This is the first time since 1998 that Washington State has hosted a Big Ten team. That team was Minnesota. We do it again between the Gophers and the Cougs, straight ahead from Pullman in just a moment.
You're watching Pac-12 Washington, home of the Washington State Cougars and the Washington Huskies. Available on Xfinity.
Washington State University, an institute of...
Wait, let me show you WSU. We're about being hands-on and getting our hands dirty. We bring art to science and science to wine. We build Mars rovers and launch new medical schools, with the occasional pizza break. Now back to work, because we're always moving forward and leaving our mark on the world. Now that's my WSU.
Ted Basler, President and CEO, Ste. Michelle Wine Estates. Today, we're the 3rd largest premium wine company in the U.S. What I love about my job is that it's agriculture, it's business, it's art and science, and it's very dynamic and a wonderful industry. I had a degree from WSU in communications. I wanted to be an advertising guy until I became a wine guy, which is even better. Last year, we opened the doors of a $23 million facility, the Ste. Michelle Wine Estates WSU Wine Science Center. Every great wine region in the world has a world-class facility for research and education, and now WSU has one. Ted Basler, class of 1976, go Cougs.
Saturday, August 26th, kick off the 2017-2018 season with a full week of nonstop football action. First, take a look back at the legends of Pac-12 football with the premiere of 12 Greatest. Then, get the lowdown on everything you need to know this season with Inside Pac-12 Football Season Previews. After that, it's time to get your game face on. The best of the West take on non-conference opponents in back-to-back matchups. Football Kickoff Week. Coverage begins Saturday, August 26th on Pac-12 Network.
Butch T. Cougars ready? Are you? We're in Pullman, the season opener, Washington State against Minnesota. Starting 11 for both teams, Minnesota, their head coach, Stephanie Golan, is starting a brand new goalie, Kaylee Sharp in net, the junior, making her collegiate debut. And for the Washington State Cougars, we will get their lineup here in just a few moments or so as we are underway. Cougars, Gophers, the 2017 season opener. Enjoy the match. Should be a good one. Minnesota won the Big Ten tournament last year and the regular season title. The first time that they took the Big Ten tournament title since 1995. Finished 16-3-4 on the year. 7-1-3 in conference play. Went to the tournament, lost to NC State on penalty kicks. Washington State's lineup, their head coach Todd Schulenberger, his third year in Pullman. He feels very good about that veteran back line led by Crenshaw, Branch, and Hancock. He also feels good about some of the freshmen on this team, including that one right there, Makame Gomera Stevens. We're going to be talking a lot about her throughout the course of this show. She wears number 3 for Washington State, a freshman from Hawaii. Scored 27 goals, a high school senior, and one of 13 freshmen on this squad for Washington State. In the corner is another Coug freshman, Elise Bennett. She can't hang on to possession. Coug will try to build from the back. And a nice feed right down the sideline. It's Bakken. Met by Grace Hancock. Back up to Koenig, sends a spinner. The header doesn't go in the right direction for Minnesota, and it's cleared instead by Washington State. Koenig trying to fight through. Gomera Stevens in the middle of it, as is another freshman, Sydney Pulver. Bennett trying to set up Pulver, and she fights for it and gets it. Cougars finished 8-9-2 last year. The first time since 2010 that they did not make the NCAA tournament. Finished 8th in the conference, a 3-7-1 record. And they're looking to get back into the NCAAs this year. This has been one of the more dangerous programs in the Pac-12 to watch. And a lot of fun to watch, too. But one thing Todd Schulenberger, their head coach, definitely wants them to improve on from last year is the shot selection and being a bit more mature, as Bakken gets mixed up with Maddie Haro. They play on, but Haro will throw it in. Schulenberger wants the Cougars to clean up their shot selection and be a bit tidier in goal. They seem to want to swing for the home run instead of doing the right thing more often than not. And they finished the Pac-12 5th in shots last season. There's a hard tackle and it goes out of bounds. There's Todd Schulenberger, one of the more charismatic coaches you're going to find in college soccer. But the Cougs finished 5th in the conference in shots, but finished tied for 9th in goals. Obviously not the discrepancy that you want there. So he wants the Cougs to be a bit more patient and to be a bit more mature in front of goal this time around. Let's see how that works. Cougs trying to clear it. Instead, the Gophers will reset. That's Maddie Gaffney with it. And it rolls to Ella Diedrich. Our first chance to talk about her, the redshirt junior, 5'10" from Southern California. Part of a back line that is going to be very crucial to the Cougs' hopes this year. Burnett intercepting the pass. And trying to set it up again for Minnesota. You see the high line that Minnesota likes to play along the back line, and that's going to be one of the big keys. Can Washington State break through that high line as they just tried to find Morgan Weaver there? Couldn't quite do it. Trying to fight off Sydney Pulver. That's Selena Nummerdor, a freshman for the Gophers from Juneau, Wisconsin. Bennett turning on the Jets, trying the mini challenge, but the clear by Kaylee Sharp. Sharp, as mentioned, a junior, making her collegiate debut. Did not play in 2015 or 16. She replaces 4-year starter Tara Hobbs, who has gone on to sign an overseas contract professionally. But Sharp is already developed, according to Stephanie Golan, the head coach of Minnesota, a trusting relationship with her back line. I'm sure it helps that she's been in the program for 2 years, so she's not just still trying to find her way to the locker room, so to speak. But she has better feet than Tara Hobbs. I think we saw just a little glimpse of it there with that last clear. Crenshaw. And Chipped outside. Maddie Gaffney trying to catch up with it. And it's just a touch off of her foot and out of bounds. Gorgeous evening here in Pullman. 80 degrees at kickoff. A little cooler than it was this afternoon as it started to cloud up just a little bit. But you cannot ask for better playing conditions than what we have right here in Pullman. At Lower Soccer Field, one of the better atmospheres you're going to find, not just in the Pac-12, but also all told. There's Tori Burnett, one of the captains for Minnesota, the other one, along with Emily Hesman. We talked about Hesman at the start of the show. Weaver tries the left foot, instead it's blocked by the Gophers. Corner kick coming up. Morgan Weaver with 2 goals in Washington State's lone exhibition contest. That was a 2-0 win over Colorado State back on August the 9th. And she's dangerous. Todd Schulenberger has called her a next-level kid. First corner kick of the match is on the way. Headed and well wide of the back post. That's Elise Bennett, freshman from Wisconsin. She started against Colorado State in their exhibition, uncorked a couple of shots. Has been on campus since spring semester, an early enrollee. She is also the daughter of former Packers running back Edgar Bennett. You Packer fans from the 90s, I'm sure, remember him. And you, I'm sure, are well aware of what Edgar's current gig is as the offensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. He's got some guy named Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. I'm sure that helps him sleep a little better at night. Bennett trying to get it outside. Couldn't quite find Weaver. And here come the Gophers. Stopping on a dime. Kelly McGann, the spin down the sideline. And somehow gets to Bakken. Bakken had an angle for a split second but couldn't uncork a shot. And that was close by Molly Fiedler. Diederich able to smother it and finish the play. Fiedler trying to line it up, just could not get the good touch on it. Set up pretty well by Bakken. But right there, defensively, Megan O'Neill making things difficult as well. Well done by the Cougs. And perhaps an early opportunity by the Gophers slips away. There's Heslin working on Gomera Stevens, who turns, tries to find Pulver. Instead, it's Minnesota that comes away with a Koenig. With the stop, finding Nummerdor. Aimed in Bakken's direction, but blocked. Gets past Harkins, uncorks, but wide. And off of the railing, that separates the fans from the field of play. Uncorked, but not on frame. There's Ella Diederich. A couple weeks ago, she told the Lewiston Morning Tribune, quote, "Honestly, I think we're going to make some noise in the Pac-12. They have before, and there's little reason to think that they won't at the very least be in the mix for the Pac-12 this season. But there are still some question marks, as you will have when you have 13 freshmen on your roster, and 3 of them starting here tonight. Comes down to Bakken. Nice pass, trying to find Fiedler, but instead cut off. Chased by Pulver. Pulver showing some defensive presence early on. Sent towards the penalty spot, but Diederich there to make the easy grab. There's the track meet. Can Bennett win it? A little contact. And a little persistence by Bennett, shielded off by Gaffney. Well, that was a bit of a fun matchup to watch. As Elise Bennett trying to fight off 2 Gophers. They collide with each other. And Bennett kept her feet. Was almost able to make the play. Nobody home at the top of the 18 from Bennett. Gophers trying to build from the back. That's what they prefer to do. They like to possess the ball and try to break you down with the ball. Haven't necessarily been able to put together too much to this point, as each team probing, testing, and tapping here in the early moments of the season opener. Jordan Branch playing it back to Dietrich. Aiming for Haro. Finding Harkins. And Harkins perhaps a bit too lackadaisical. Didn't notice Emily Heslin coming in from nowhere. Heslin with the fine defensive play to shut down a potential opportunity for Washington State. Weaver sends it, and Sharp able to collect it easily with her feet. And the Gophers will try to build. Minnesota, the reigning Big Ten champions. And talking to Gopher head coach Stephanie Golan, she says it's a big deal in some instances, but in some other ways, it's not really a big deal. Obviously, it's a big thing whenever you win a conference championship, especially in a conference as competitive as the Big Ten. And as mentioned, it's their first conference title, tournament title, I should say, since 1995. But in another sense, she says, that doesn't mean that much. After all, we got picked to finish 5th in the Big Ten preseason coaches poll. But she's fine with that. The team's fine with that. Because they know they have to earn it, and they know how good they can be. There's Coach Golan. In her 6th year at Minnesota. The reigning Big Ten Coach of the Year, by the way. Heading towards Dietrich, and she makes the catch. Despite the challenge from Minnesota. Dietrich can command the box, and now there's a foul. As I believe that is Pulver, who is trying to... Nope, that's Weaver. Weaver made a little contact. And so that will go against the sophomore. Poked out by Megan O'Neill. O'Neill, a junior from Spokane, Washington. She was on Washington State's recruiting radar through 3 different coaching regimes and has ended up playing for the 4th different head coach she's dealt with in this program, and Todd Schulenberger. That one's chipped but headed out by Grace Hancock. Boy, are the Cougs glad to have her back along the back line. Bennett turning on the Jets. And the Gophers keep it in bounds. Schulenberger in his 3rd year on the Palouse, stabilizing what was a relatively difficult and unstable period for Washington State from the head coaching standpoint as Bennett comes in and makes the tackle. As they had 4 different head coaches in a 5-season span. Matt Potter, Gadani McAlpine, Steve Nugent resigning suddenly in April 2015. And now there's Todd Schulenberger. He's pumped for tonight. Not just with the new and improved lower soccer field, but also this is his first real recruiting class in the building. As that one's knocked out of bounds by Chelsea Harkins. As finally, it's all his players here on the program. We mentioned the new and improved lower soccer field. Well, we mean it. This was the scene just hours ago. They're still working on things here. They've replaced the bleachers and expanded the bleachers. Hey, I just used that arm rail a couple hours ago. They expanded the bleachers. They've expanded the seating capacity to at least 2,500, and even more than that can sit on the berm behind one of the goals here at Lower Soccer Field. They replaced the field itself a couple of years ago, so the pitch is in very good condition. But now they have upgraded in phase 2 of those renovations. The seating. They've added a locker room as well for the team. As there's the berm behind one of the goals, behind the east goal here at Lower Soccer Field, which is filled with fans. Another whistle, and that will go against Minnesota. Kelly McGowan, the senior from Apple Valley, Minnesota, in the mix there. But Todd Schulenberger and this program very proud of this facility, and it's not quite finished yet. There are still a couple of small things that need to be tightened up, and that in all likelihood will be tightened up within the next couple of weeks. They still don't have the hot tub and the buffet and the TV booth, but that's okay. Quick restart. Outside. That's Gaffney. Coming forward and blocked by Jordan Branch. Branch has been on the spot throughout much of her Coug career. She was the only Coug to play all 90 minutes in the exhibition against Colorado State. And she has now started 51 straight matches for Washington State. Setting the stage now for Minnesota's first corner kick of the evening. Here in the 17th minute. Glad you're with us. Ron Pullman, Troy Clarity here on the Pac-12 Network. Washington State, Big Ten champion Minnesota, scoreless. Burnett with the corner kick. Twisting. Sent out by Harkins. Gaffney hustling over to try to get there. Doesn't exactly need to, as Minnesota will retain possession, as Harkins was the last to touch it. Maddie Gaffney with the throw, and she's also on the Big Ten preseason honors list coming into the season, as that will be a goal kick. Gaffney along with Burnett and Heslin, the three Gophers who made the Big Ten preseason honors list, which is covered with Penn State Nittany Lions, and rightfully so. Penn State should be loaded this season. Ella Diedrich, two-time Pac-12 All-Academic honorable mention, and she made the Pac-12 All-Freshman team in 2015. The command, the swagger, she's got it. And she's one of the better keepers you're going to find, not just in the Pac-12, but also in college soccer. Omera Stevens setting up Weaver. Weaver trying to get past Peterson. Instead it trickles out of bounds, and that sets up a goal kick. Boy, you kind of take a deep breath when you see the ball at Morgan Weaver's feet. She's heading towards the top of the 18. Peterson doing her best to try to thwart that opportunity. Cougars did not score off of a corner kick at all last year. They only had one goal from a set piece last season. I'm sure that's an area that Todd Schulenberger would like to see improvement from his squad this year. Chelsea Harkins to start it off. Was at top of the sixth and headed out by the Gophers. Pulver trying to keep it alive, and she does as it falls to Harkins. It was actually Weaver who kept it alive. A hustle by Weaver. And she uncorks on frame off the post. A close call by Weaver. Harkins settles. Fights off the defender. Puts that one sharp fielded on a hop. When Morgan Weaver has the ball at her feet, if you're the keeper, you better be ready. Coming in hot. And just off the post. Sharp with a bit of an exhale. That one rolls to Diedrich, and Diedrich clears it. Let's take a look from behind the net here and just see how close this one was, just off the post. Hey, the soccer's a game of inches too. That one might have been a game of centimeters. It's Kaylee Sharp. Welcome to college soccer. Gaffney sent that one towards Bennett. Bennett directing traffic. And instead, that's sent out by Burnett, and she smothers the play. It's early season. You're still trying to work out some of the kinks, perhaps, communication-wise. And perhaps Weaver and Bennett weren't quite on the same page on that one. but it is early season. Bennett and Weaver are both young. Taken away by Pulver. Pulver already has been rather impressive from a defensive standpoint. Heading towards the goal line. And dispossessed by Megan O'Neill. Outstanding. The Cougs are going to get after it defensively. They're not going to make it very easy for you, and they're going to play a bit physical, too. Megan O'Neill with helping to prove that philosophy once more. Aiming for Bennett, but a yellow card has been issued. Not completely sure where that yellow was directed. Been a relatively cleanly played game to this point. And Nikki Albrecht with the yellow card in the 22nd minute. Gophers throw it in, and that one ends up going clear out of the park. And rolling down towards the street behind Lower Soccer Field. Albrecht with the yellow card. She's a sophomore from Cedarburg, Wisconsin, and she was the only freshman to start consistently for the Gophers last year. And that's impressive enough in itself, but it's even more remarkable when you consider just how veteran Minnesota's back line was last year. With Maddie Gaffney, with Tori Burnett, and also with Rashida Beal. Bennett keeps it. As Sharp came off of her line. Bennett turns, looking for options. Chipped away, but now it rolls to Pulver. Clear it out. Numador has it now for Minnesota. Washington State starting to get closer and closer. Can they break through? Or will Minnesota be first? Numador thinks about it. And it's intercepted by Gomera Stevens, setting up Kelsey Crenshaw. Crenshaw, senior from Marysville, Washington, trying to fight off Kelly McGowan. Can't quite do it. Gophers switch field. Back to Gaffney. Inside the 18, aiming for Molly Fiedler. And now Fiedler back on the outside. Instead, that one's sent into the stands. Jordan Branch. Ho-hum, typical day at the office for her, just doing what she does. The senior from Sammamish, Washington. An outstanding one-on-one defender. Also, the Cougs' most athletic defender as well. Part of a decorated back line for Washington State. Corner kick for Minnesota. Burnett takes it. Towards the mixer, punched out by Diederich. Stop, the turn, the determination, and the hard tackle just outside of the box. Hancock having none of that. Hancock back in the starting lineup for Washington State, and that is a very welcome development for Todd Schulenberger and the Cougs. Had a fantastic senior season, but played just 11 games last year, and only started one. Had a knee injury early in the season that derailed her 2016 campaign. So we'll do it again. Another corner from Burnett, and that's into the side of the netting. Tori Burnett has now started 46 straight games, and she had a terrific on-field chemistry with Rashida Beal, who really helped quarterback the Gophers' back line last season. But she has graduated, along with some other big personalities for Minnesota. Simone Colander, the reigning Big Ten Forward of the Year. Tara Hobbs, we talked about her in net earlier in the show. And Josie Stever. So Minnesota losing 4 big personalities and trying to establish an identity themselves. Here's Morgan Weaver. Drop whatever you're doing and watch. Weaver uncorks and sends one heads up in the TV truck back there. Every time the ball is at her feet and she is slithering around the 18, drop everything and watch. A couple of substitutions for Minnesota. Sydney Squires is coming in. She'll replace Bakken. Koenig and Neuerdor coming out for Minnesota. And Athena Kuhn in the game for the Gophers as well. Kuhn, a freshman from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Plays with reckless abandon. And Coach Stephanie Gohan says that in practice, Kuhn goes so hard, we have to hold her back. Part of the joys of being a freshman, being new to the program, and having the nonstop energy, you're ready to go. Kuhn certainly fits that mold. So the Gophers certainly have their share of freshmen. There's Kuhn. Washington State seemingly dominated by freshmen, and we've already seen flashes from Elise Bennett, from Sydney Pulver, from Gomera Stevens. So youth is served both for the Cougs and the Gophers. Header goes back but falls to the feet of Jordan Branch. Trying to turn. And instead of switching, Fiedler plays it down, sprinting, but Branch will win that race and play it back to Diederich. Whistle, bit of contact. And that will go in Minnesota's direction. Elise Bennett, Todd Schulenberger says that she runs like her dad. And a bit of a raw finisher, but she can certainly be a vertical threat that takes some of the pressure off Morgan Weaver, which makes Weaver more dangerous. Pulver in the thick of things. Bennett tried to set up the outside run. Crenshaw able to make sure that it actually happens. Well done. Here comes Weaver. Shielded well by Minnesota. And Gaffney finishes the play. Gomera Stevens. She's got quicks. Dispossessed and taken by April Bakken. Struggling. We play on. June trying to fight off O'Neal, but O'Neal wins that battle. That one sent towards the corner, and Minnesota will start to build once again. Washington State coming off of a season that they were unlucky in a lot of ways. Lost to BYU in their opener here last year in double overtime. Lost in Colorado as the Buffs scored the game winner in the 89th minute. At Cal, they had an iffy penalty call that led to a penalty kick that ended up being the difference as the Bears beat the Cougars last year. Close loss to then number 1 Stanford as well. So there were many, many close calls for the Cougs last year. Part unlucky, part immaturity as well. Bakken keeps it. Sent towards the center. Instead, Hancock there to clean it up. Header by Kuhn. Back at her feet. Back to Squires, who sends one just wide of the post. Ella Dieterich getting into the game. Squires uncorking. Dieterich giving an effort. That one was not on frame. 30 minutes in, we are scoreless in the Palouse. 19th ranked Minnesota versus Washington State. Glad you spent part of your Friday evening with us here in Pullman. Troy Clarity here. Always great to be at Lower Soccer Field. You hear the drum line in the background there in the building. Butch T. Cougar in the building as well. Classes on campus begin here on Monday, but the students have pretty much moved in, so a lot of activity heading into this match. A lot of attendance as well. That one goes beyond the back line, and it'll be a goal kick for Washington State. There's Butch T. Cougar in the mix, right in the middle of things as always. Saw him walking into Lower Soccer Field this evening, bringing in a couple of pizza boxes, so he really became my favorite mascot then. A couple of substitutions for Washington State. Brianna Alger replacing Elise Bennett. Alger, a freshman from Monument, Colorado. Makamai Gomera Stevens comes off the pitch. She's the freshman from Hawaii. We'll talk a lot more about her as we go along. And Shayna Wilden, redshirt freshman from Norco, California, comes in. Also from Minnesota, Juliana Gurnis is in for the Gophers. Harkins with a nice ball, now setting up Wilden. Instead, Pulver thought she might have had a shot at it, and both Wilden and Pulver hesitated. And that allowed Minnesota to snuff out the play. Gophers switching field. Branch has been busy in this match so far. You'd expect nothing less. And aiming towards Branch again, although Squires got a head on it while she was on her keister. Wilden aiming for Alger. Instead, Sharp clears. Alger trying to fight for it again, but instead Minnesota wins that battle as well. Alger played 37 minutes in the Cougs exhibition against Colorado State last week. She comes from a family of swimmers and divers. Aiming for McGon, and she's got it. Harlow trying to bump her off, and it's out of bounds. Harlow, the junior from Corona, California, majoring in multimedia journalism and strategic communication. She wants to work for the Pac-12 network someday. It's not a bad place to be, I can tell you that from experience. There's Gurnis, now replacing Kelly McGon. Gurnis, a senior from Lake Elmo, Minnesota. One of her high school teammates, Emily Haslett. Wears number 10 for Minnesota, one of the captains for the Gophers. Gaffney trying to keep it in bounds. Takes a bit of a tumble. Gurnis trying to get it back for Minnesota. Just tight-roping along that sideline. Weaver tries the turn. Aiming in Weaver's direction. Does she switch field? Yes, she does, but not an accurate pass. Crenshaw was coming up on the outside, as she can do. Crenshaw actually started at Washington State as a forward before moving to outside back before her sophomore year. And Crenshaw was brought forward at times last year, so it's certainly not a role that she's unfamiliar with. Fiedler. Back to Gaffney. There's Bakken. Beats Branch. Bakken. Sets it up. Gurnis too strong. Bakken didn't necessarily have time and space, but she was able to create it with the stop on the dime. The vision to set up Gurnis, but Gurnis with the touch too strong. That's just about everything you want right there if you're Minnesota. Gurnis scored twice in the Big Ten tournament last year. Hannah Goff in the game now for Washington State. She is a freshman from Glendora, California. Started in the exhibition against Colorado State, played 71 minutes. Is multi-positional, very versatile, which is always a good thing when you're a freshman. Always a good thing to make it easier for coaches to find roles for you. Squires, the roller, Crenshaw gets a foot on it. Not perhaps the best clear that she would have wanted. Hancock able to get it further away, but two Gophers are right there. Bakken's been busy. Haro, the left foot sent towards Alger, trying to beat Emily Peterson. But Sharp with the clear. Perhaps a bit of contact. Now there's the whistle. Shayna Wilden played at Upland High School in Southern California. Her father, Bo, was her head coach. She played 4 games last year, notched a couple of assists, and is starting her redshirt freshman season. Right to Gaffney's foot, hiked towards Bakken. Wilden tried the turn. And Heslin switches field. Fiedler hangs in there, but I believe that might have been a handball. Molly Fiedler was named Rookie of the Year her freshman season in 2015 for these Minnesota Golden Gophers. Gophers played 2 exhibitions, one against Creighton and another one against Kansas State. Fiedler scored against the Wildcats last week. But she has not scored in a regular season game in her Minnesota career. But she did have 7 assists last season, and they all came in conference play, something that Minnesota coach Golan was quick to note when we chatted about the squad a couple days ago. Haro on the spot directing traffic. Finds Wilden. Marked almost instantly. Culver to Alger. Keeping possession. Instead, taken away by Squires. Through Squires, making the run on her foot. Dietrich off her line, makes the save. Gophers try it again. And that one rolls in the box and is cleared by Washington State. Ella Dietrich on the spot. Tried to make the run, believed that was Gurnis, who fought off Crenshaw, but Dietrich wisely coming off of her line. And that's a decision that you have to make almost instantly. That one is hiked and just off the top of the netting. That's a decision as a goalie you have to make very, very quickly and very early on. You don't want to get hung up in no man's land if you come off of your line. Dietrich gambling and winning there. Weaver coming off. We are late here in the first half, scoreless. Each team has had opportunities. Morgan Weaver actually hit the post for Washington State back in the 20th minute. And Minnesota with a couple of chances more recently. Sophia Anka-Kufu in the game now for Washington State. She's a senior from Sweden. Two-time Pac-12 All-Academic, second team. Always good to see international representation up and down the Pac-12. Haro on the spot once more. Goff thought about it. Tried to play it through the middle. Dispossessed by Minnesota. Gaffney searching, but instead Branch is there. Bit of a bump by Kuhn. Off of Megan O'Neill. Stick around. Coming up at the half, we have the soccer halftime report. Kate Rooney standing by at our studios back in San Francisco. Big opening night up and down the conference in women's soccer. We'll get you all the latest there. And, of course, the city of Barcelona not in the news for good reasons. Oregon State and Arizona men's basketball teams are there. Everyone is safe, but we will get you the latest on the Beavers and the Wildcats as they are abroad. That is our halftime report. Kate Rooney standing by in San Francisco in just a few minutes. But we have a couple minutes left to play here in the first half in Pullman. Still scoreless between Minnesota and Washington State. Crenshaw finds McKenna Sullivan. Cougs trying to set it up. Anka-Kufu with the poke to Goff, but there were two yellow shirts right in the way. That would have been an extremely difficult pass to pull off. Here come the Gophers, countering. And a shot, and it bounces well wide of the net. Fiedler uncorking that one. Dieter saying, hey, we need to get our shape back on defense. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Diederich fifth in wins all-time for Washington State with 22. Fourth for the Cougs all-time in goals allowed average, 0.99 there. Shot stopper, great distributor, good with her feet, and is in full command. Let's see what she does here in the corner kick. Burnett sends it away towards the penalty spot. It's headed up and knocked out by Washington State. Giving chase. The mini challenge. Like a Q-few there, but not quite enough of a challenge. Emily Peterson with it. Searching but not finding anything. Inside a minute to go in regulation. In front of a packed house here at Lower Soccer Field. Diederich waits for the challenge, and now she takes it. As the clock continues to roll, see the fans on the berm behind the field, and there's a lot more right underneath us as well. They're enjoying a beautiful evening of soccer and hoping the Cougs can come away with the win. First time that Washington State has hosted a Big Ten team in regular season play since 1998. That team happened to be the Gophers as well. Alger dispossessed, and that one is cleared by Minnesota. Squires sends one off into the stands, and that is how the first half ends. Opportunities for both teams, but no one puts it in the back of the net in the first 45 minutes. We are scoreless here in Pullman between Washington State and Minnesota. Morgan Weaver with a close call in the 20th minute as she went off the post. Minnesota with a couple of close calls as well. But that's only the half of it. The second half coming up in just a few moments. It's been a good one so far. But first, our halftime report from San Francisco coming up in just a couple moments. Scoreless in Pullman on the Pac-12 Network.
It's time to play.
It's time to play.
Only 8 days.
Only 8 days till football kickoff week.
Watch the action on Pac-12 Network.
There are over 480,000 college athletes. Only 2% would go pro.
That means over 470,000 will not get a shoe contract. No autographs. No private jets. No fan clubs. No Hall of Fame inductions. Instead, they will walk away with something much more valuable.
Go.
I'm Isaac Dotson. I'm a safety at Washington State University. I'm originally from Bellevue, Washington, over on the west side, and sports is something that's been big in my family ever since I can remember. My dad was a wrestler here back in the 80s. Got 4 older sisters who are all athletes and growing up, so it's kind of just been a big part of our lives ever since I can remember. If you play for Coach Leach, you're going to graduate. That's his deal, so he obviously thinks very highly about our education coming first. Taylor Taliulu, he's playing safety with me. You know, we just got to know each other pretty well. We both share this common interest in music and obviously football as well. We're both on the team. We just threw together a little piece for you.
Okay, it's me and ID. Shouts to Pac-12 Network. Getty at the top. You can really check the net worth. Everything B's up. You can check the sweatshirt. Wazoo, rep and go Cougs. Heard it here first.
I'm Isaac Dotson, Washington State football. Go Cougs.
While schools might be on break, Pac-12 Network will be in session all summer long. This week, training camps have started, and the countdown to kickoff has begun. We've got everything you need to get up to speed for the upcoming football season. Pac-12 Summer on Pac-12 Network, all summer long.
Hi there, welcome into our San Francisco studios. I'm Kate Rooney with you for the halftime report. Your Cougars season is officially underway, and we'll get you back for the second half as they try to hold off the 19th ranked Golden Gophers. But first, let's take a look at what the reigning national champs did in their inaugural game today. We head down to LA. That's where number 3 USC unveiled their 2016 national championship banner ahead of their match with UC Davis today. Picked this one up in the 22nd minute, scoreless game. Leah Pruitt crosses it into the box, and Alex Anthony there to handle it off the goalie deflection. So it's a 1-0 lead for the national champs. Second half, 50th minute, same score. Samantha Bruder, a long pass into the box, and freshman Arlie Jones, a diving header to put the Trojans up 2-0. What a beauty for the freshman's first career goal. USC would go on to win it 2-1. They now have a 7-game winning streak dating back to last season. Also in action today, number 25 Colorado, looking to start off their season against their rival Colorado State. They won 5 of the last 6 Colorado Cups. In this one, a scoreless game, Taylor Korniak taking a shot. She would miss. We remain scoreless. On to the 60th minute. Still nothing on the board. Kaya Ornes, a shot from deep, but that one would hit the post, and we go to overtime. Pick it up in the 106th minute. A free kick. Good chance for Korniak, but that one is high, so the game would end in a draw, and Colorado waits their next opponent, Colorado College, on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Graham Winkworth era was underway in Tempe as they hosted Ohio State. 31st minute, not what Winkworth wants to see in his first game, until Olive Jones ties it up for the Sun Devils. We go to the 62nd minute, still a tie game. Ohio State crossed to Sammy Edwards, but Megan Delaney with a beautiful save. Just diving to keep that one out of the basket. So this game will go into overtime as well. 98th minute, same score. It's Megan Commerdiner who gets the win for the Buckeyes. She just had one goal last year. We go to Oregon. That's where Kat Mertz was looking to lead her Ducks to a win against her former team, North Carolina State. 26th minute, Wolfpack up 1-0. Christina Schuster makes it 2-0. We go to the 67th minute. Ducks down 3 now. Brianne Parsons getting on the board for her team. Pretty good feeling on the opening day of the season. On to the 85th. Wolfpack up 3-1, and Maxine Blackwood makes it 4-1. Next game for Oregon is Kansas State on Sunday. After the break, we'll switch gears with an update from a couple Pac-12 men's basketball teams who were in Spain during yesterday's terrifying attack.
Some kids you can't coach, you can't teach to be great. They just have it in them.
August 26th, witness greatness with the premiere of the Pac-12 Network original series, 12 Greatest. The 12 greatest football players from every Pac-12 institution.
The impact he had on his team, making them so much better.
12 Greatest. Stream the entire first season on Pac-12 Now, August 26th, starting at 1.
On the field, on the court, defining excellence, creating champions.
They win their first ever national championship. Among the great teams of all time.
The program's first ever national championship. National champion!
Now win the tournament!
Impossible is nothing.
Unmatched, beyond compare. In the lead, the Pac-12, the first conference to reach 500 NCAA championships.
400-meter hurdles, it's such a technical event. You have to be strong, you have to be fast, you have to be smart, and I thrive off the technicality.
Yeah, he just looks confident. He knows he has this.
I came in as an engineer major, and this was a school for engineering, and was for sure guaranteed that's what I was doing. I had my heart set on that. I got here and realized that it was not what I wanted. It was completely the opposite. When I was making my decision for the switch, I had gotten hurt playing football, and I went into a PT, and I kind of just fell in love with what he did, and so I realized that that's where I felt like my heart was. Kinesiology is just the study of movement. I'm a pre-PT, actually, so I want to go into physical therapy. That's a grad school pursuit that I am willing to make the sacrifices for, and I'm excited to go down that path. I'm CJ Allen, Washington State University Track and Field. Go Cougs!
Washington State University, an institute of...
Wait, let me show you WSU. We're about being hands-on and getting our hands dirty. We bring art to science and science to wine. We build Mars rovers and launch new medical schools, with the occasional pizza break. Now back to work, because we're always moving forward and leaving our mark on the world. Now that's my WSU.
Welcome back. Kate Rooney with you on the Halftime Report. If you followed the news the last 24 hours, you're probably aware of the attacks in Barcelona, Spain on Thursday evening. The Oregon State and Arizona men's basketball teams were both staying in Barcelona for a European tournament tour. Thankfully, we've learned everyone from both squads is safe, and Beavers head coach Wayne Tinkle had this to say yesterday.
I know people back home are concerned, but I don't think they understand the gravity of what occurred here today. So we're just reaching out, letting you know that we're all in good shape. All of our party and players and everyone are accounted for. We've got a couple of members that aren't with us in the hotel, but are safe until things are cleared up a little bit later on. So everything's good with our guys. Obviously going to be a tough thing to deal with here moving forward, but thank God that we're all safe.
As of this afternoon, Oregon State told us the following. The team is in Valencia. They play tomorrow and plan to continue the tour as scheduled. So good news for the Beavers. As for the Wildcats, they released the following statement. Our entire travel party is safe and accounted for following the situation in Barcelona today. Our thoughts are with the people affected. We've decided to cancel our third and final exhibition of the tour and are currently working on travel plans to return home. We wish them, of course, a very safe trip home and express our condolences to those injured in the attacks and those who lost loved ones. For additional updates, please visit pac-12.com.
You're watching Pac-12 Washington, home of the Washington State Cougars and the Washington Huskies. Available on Xfinity.
On the field, on the court, defining excellence, creating champions. The Cougar Gold belonged to the gloves of the 1937 Washington State boxing team as they took top honors, led by Washington State's first national boxing champion, Roy Pooch Petrogallo. Unmatched, beyond compare, in the lead, the Pac-12, the first conference to reach 500 national championships.
Hi, I'm Gerard Wicks, Washington State football. I play running back. I'm from Carson, California, and I first started playing sports when I was about 5 to 6. I started playing flag football. When you come to college, you're basically on your own, but with our advisors and our coaches, like, they stay on us and keep us, mentally and physically and mostly ready to, take on school, because, in season it's hard because, we have practice, we have games to worry about, but, like, the advisors, keep us on a tight leash to keep us on track and everything. You can't play football forever, so you have to have a backup plan once you finish playing. Grades first, and then, sports second.
The handoff bouncing it outside. Gerard Wicks in to the end zone. Touchdown, Washington State.
Gerard Wicks, Washington State football, running back, number 23. Go Cougs.
Saturday, August 26th, kick off the 2017-2018 season with a full week of nonstop football action. First, take a look back at the legends of Pac-12 football with the premiere of 12 Greatest. Then, get the lowdown on everything you need to know this season with Inside Pac-12 Football season previews. After that, it's time to get your game face on. The best of the West take on non-conference opponents in back-to-back matchups. Football Kickoff Week. Coverage begins Saturday, August 26th on Pac-12 Network.
Boy, you can't beat that sunset as we're here in Pullman, lower soccer field. Minnesota and Washington State scoreless as we are about to start the second half. And we're joined by the head coach of the Cougars, Todd Schulenberger. Coach, overall, your thoughts in the first half. What were you expecting, and what did you get in the first 45 minutes?
Well, I was thinking for a tight game there. I was definitely thinking it was going to be physical, and it was. And both teams had some nice opportunities. We rang the crossbar one with a really good look. And, the first game, you're going to have the shakiness throughout both teams, but I think it's settled down, and we're doing a good job.
Yeah, what have you seen from the freshmen so far? Because they've certainly seen a lot of action to this point.
We did. I think we played 5 freshmen, and they don't know any better yet. That's a good thing. And Elise Bennett did a couple things up front, got some activity out of her, and Sydney Pulver in the midfield and others. So we're excited where we're at. The youth, we got fresh legs, so that's a good thing.
Should be fun. Coach, thanks a bunch. Appreciate your time as always.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That is the head coach of the Washington State Cougars, Todd Schulenberger. And it's been a game full of highlights, and whenever Morgan Weaver's in the game, you got to drop everything and watch when she has the ball at her feet. Hasn't been able to put one in the back of the net to this point, but that's not for lack of trying. Watch this, off the post in the 20th minute. Doink. And then later on in the first half, trying to fight off 2 yellow shirts. Can't quite do it. Sends it off, heads up folks down in the TV truck. Morgan Weaver busy as always. A typical day at the office for her. But however, they have not been able to get on the board to this point. Washington State hosting Minnesota here in Pullman for the first time since 1998. And we have footage that game actually happened September 21st, 1998, right here at Lower Soccer Field, as that one just knocked around. Minnesota got the 4-2 win over Washington State that day. How about that? We dug deep into the vaults for that one. Nice job by our crew back in San Francisco. The numbers from this first half, of course, the most important ones are the score, and you've got zeros for both Gophers and the Cougars as well. Pretty evenly played for the most part all the way around. Perhaps Washington State had a bit more of a run of play early on. Minnesota perhaps had a bit more opportunities in the final 15 minutes or so of the first half. Add it all up together, and it has been about as tight a contest as Todd Schulenberger just told us, as you would have expected coming into this one. with the Washington State Cougars, as dangerous as they are. It's also alumni night here at Lower Soccer Field. This program goes back to 1989, and those earliest teams and the most recent teams, all represented by the various alumni who came back. They were walked out onto the field. The band, of course, played Fight, Fight, Fight for Washington State. Some of the notable Cougs in attendance: Courtney Gutlein, a recent Coug; Gervine Clare, watching her replacement, Ella Diederich, do work in net for Washington State. Just part of the great and terrific atmosphere that always surrounds Lower Soccer Field. With a packed house, the band, Butch T. Cougar. However, interesting to note that the Cougs were fantastic at home last year, went 8-3-1. Not so much in 2015. They struggled here at home, but went 9-1 on the road 2 years ago. Last year on the road, the Cougs went 0-6-1. But they're loving the friendly confines here in Pullman as of right now. There's Morgan Weaver. 2 goals against Seattle U last year, scoring the 89th minute against number 1 Stanford last season. Of course, the game-winning goal against Arizona State in double overtime, which Todd Schulenberger appreciates. 22-15-2 in his 3rd year on the Palouse. And he told me coming into this game that he is an excited question mark for this season. He doesn't know a lot of what he's going to see. Not exactly sure just how many answers those first 45 minutes provided him. But certainly he knows that he has the weapons to do some big things this season and return to the NCAA tournament, as they missed it last year for the first time since 2010. Kaylee Sharp, just saw her, the Minnesota keeper. There's Ella Diederich, redshirt junior. She's had some moments, especially a point-blank save of Juliana Gurnis in the 40th minute. Away we go. Second half. Gophers and Cougars here in Pullman. Weaver working. And finding Goff. And just chipped out of bounds off the foot of Fiedler. This sets the stage for an interesting first week for the Cougs. Of course, facing the number 19 team in the land here tonight in Minnesota. Then St. Mary's comes here next Friday. Cougs had some trouble against the Gales last year. And then they head down to the Bay Area to face Santa Clara. Cougars upset Santa Clara last year. Here's Squires trying to fight off Haro. Squires gets it back, setting it up, but instead it's taken away. Koenig was making the run towards the penalty spot, but nobody home. So 3 big tests already for the Cougs. On the run, Weaver and Bennett. Burnett making the play. Mara Stevens the challenge. Gets it away from Bennett. So 2 of the first 3 opponents for the Cougs are ranked as of right now. Santa Clara, always dangerous, but the Cougs were able to solve Santa Clara last year and get a big win here in Pullman last season. They're not thinking about that now. They're thinking about trying to beat the Gophers. That one just goes out beyond the back line. Meanwhile, Minnesota also has another ranked team, or at least a ranked team coming up next week, as they will face Notre Dame. They're ranked number 18 in the latest poll. That game coming up on Friday. That's a tournament in Iowa. It's Minnesota coach Stephanie Golan. Big Ten promises to be rugged as usual this year, especially with Penn State returning 5 players that spent last year playing for the Under-20 World Cup. And Penn State wasn't a slouch last year either. They did some good things. So they'll be very dangerous in the Big Ten. Perhaps fortuitous for Minnesota that the Gophers miss Penn State in the regular season. But the Big Ten has a tournament. So obviously not out of the realm of possibility for Minnesota and Penn State to meet at some point down the road. Branch the header. Bennett the challenge. Sharp sends it away. And Bennett may have been offsides. Minnesota defensively has been impressive for the most part tonight, and they were on point last year as they put up some mind-boggling numbers. They allowed just 3 goals in Big Ten regular season play, including a streak where they had 420 consecutive shutout minutes. And they only gave up multiple goals in a game for the entire season just once. That was against Stanford. A little tug. Albrecht and Goff getting mixed up. And a quick restart for Minnesota. Setting up on the outside. Gaffney strikes, but that one bounces and is not on frame. Goff versus Albrecht. A little tugging match. And Albrecht and Goff both go to the turf. It's been physical. That's a pretty good representation of what this match has been all about to this point. Nothing has been given away. Everything has been earned. Sun setting off in the distance. I see a little crimson and gray in the skies above the Palouse. Harkins with the boot. Gaffney wins possession. Back to Minnesota's defensive prowess last season. As mentioned, the only time they gave up more than 1 goal in a game last year was a 4-1 loss against Stanford. But right after that game is when they really started to turn it around. Offsides, the final call there on that last sequence. But they started to turn it around a little bit, and they also had to deal with Santa Clara. They were making a little Bay Area swing last year, and after that 4-1 loss to Stanford, they decided to turn it around, buckled down a bit defensively, and they were able to get the result at Santa Clara. Obviously, not an easy thing to do against the Broncos. Look at the run they put together in the NCAA tournament last year. But that result against Santa Clara was the catalyst, especially defensively, for what the Gophers were able to do in Big Ten regular season play, giving up just 3 goals during the course of that time span. Koenig. Fiedler. Switching field. Albrecht controls. The step over. Nice move beating Goff. She uncorks, and it is just off target. That was close. Albrecht finding space, creating space, and that one just sails over the top. Morgan Weaver, you see her, the sophomore, might have a little bit of a limp. We'll keep an eye on that as that goes along. The challenge by Bennett. Played to Albrecht. Grace Hancock finding Harkins. Harkins fighting off Sydney Squires. Number 7 versus number 7. 7 on 7. Speaking of that, Washington State football was practicing earlier today. Got a glimpse of that. And the Pac-12 football crew was here in the Palouse yesterday, checking out things, hanging out with Coach Leach and Luke Falk. And the Cougar football squad that is going to be dangerous once again this year. Can they truly break through? One way to find out. Can Washington State women's soccer truly break through this year? Those answers are starting to unfold here bit by bit. Nice ball. Gamera Stevens has it. She's out in front. Trying to beat Burnett. Settles. Uncorks. Shot. Misses just wide. Weaver almost with the fantastic finish. And that was very well set up. First by the outstanding ball over the high back line, finding Gamera Stevens. And Gamera Stevens, the step over, and the chipper, just off the front foot, but the touch wide of the net from Weaver. But it all started with that pass, that ball that just got chipped over the back line. I'm somewhat surprised we haven't seen more of that from Washington State than we have. It's been one of the things that both coaches were keying on and going to be watching to see how Washington State could find ways to get past that high line that Minnesota likes to play. And you also saw a little bit of what Makamai Gomera Stevens can do. She was able to shake Burnett. That's not easy. Gomera Stevens is a freshman. Koenig might try to uncork for a brief second there. She could not. Peterson fighting off Weaver. Settled by Jordan Branch. But Peterson there to set it up. Fiedler uncorks. And there is to make the catch is Dieterich. On frame, but not enough to beat Dieterich. As Fiedler launches that one from about 25 yards out. Dieterich, the momentary spill. She's able to get it back. Dieterich has been very busy already this evening and showing why she is one of the better keepers in Pac-12. Meanwhile, Kaylee Sharp has done well for the most part for Minnesota in goal, making her collegiate debut. Perhaps an instance earlier in the first half where she might have come off the line just a bit too soon, but nothing came of that. Bennett. Harkins can't get there. Perhaps a bit too far downfield. And that ball bounces out of bounds. Let's take another look. Ella Dieterich. Right at you. But she's able to snare it and make the save. I'm sure Gervine Clare liked that play. She's in the building as part of the Washington State alumni who are here to commemorate the opening of a new and improved lower soccer field, which is becoming more of a facility instead of just merely a place to play. Bennett looking for options. Didn't have much help. Weaver not quite 100%. She doesn't quite seem to be able to find that other gear. Perhaps if she was 100%, she might have been able to make that run and help complete things, but you can see a little bit of a hitch in her get along. I'm from Oklahoma. We talk like that down there. Weaver, the team leader from last season in goals, points, and shots. Corking 70 shots last season. Came on in a big way here in Pullman. She will be looked to keep things going, especially considering the senior class that has departed Pullman, led by Caitlin Johnson, affectionately known as Cato. Kyliana Johnson as well, member of the senior class for Washington State that graduated at the end of last year. That class responsible for 46 wins and 3 NCAA tournament appearances. And you also add Alicia Overland, who is lost for the season with a knee injury. She was one of the Cougs' more reliable goal scorers last season, but she is unavailable this year. So Cougs certainly have some holes to fill, trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And you've seen a lot of those pieces at work so far this evening. Koenig Switching field. It's Gaffney with it. Challenged a bit by Weaver, and Weaver just is really struggling out there. Now she's going down and trying to work out a cramp, and meanwhile a ball skips as Bakken just was not quite ready to make the run. And that'll be it for Weaver for at least a moment. As Weaver is coming off the pitch, see some attention. McKenna Sullivan coming in. Saw a little bit of Sullivan earlier in the first half. Brianna Alger also replacing Elise Bennett. So up front looks like it's going to be Alger and Makamai Stevens, as well as McKenna Sullivan for Washington State. Whistle going in Minnesota's direction. Gophers to start it off. Megan O'Neill had to tie her shoe, so equipment issues are solved, and we're ready for action. In the box, Hancock on the spot. Bakken turns. She lets one loose, and right there on frame to make the catch is Diederich. Well, all of a sudden, we're starting to see, especially Minnesota, try to strike from long distance, and it's not quite working. As Diederich has been there time and time again. This one from Bakken, launched from Moscow. That's Idaho, about 8 miles across the border from Pullman. Ninth shot of the day for Minnesota. Is number 10 forthcoming. Played outside, Bakken not quite making the run. When there was Crenshaw, and she can't catch up with it. 60 minutes in, scoreless in Pullman. Troy Clarity here on the Pac-12 Network, the season opener between the Cougars and the Gophers. Here comes Sydney Pulver, replacing Chelsea Harkins. Pulver, a freshman from Parker, Colorado. Pulver's already made a bit of an impact, especially defensively. He started playing at age 5. Liked Washington State's small-town, big school feel. Pulver with outstanding athleticism, and she's got some size too at 5'9". That said, still probably needs to get just a little bit stronger. But her career seems to be off to a good start. Blocked by Hancock. Sullivan tried to get ahead on it, might have just flicked. Fighting for it, Alger. Setting it up. Sullivan heads outside, and instead the Gophers are there. Hancock. Fighting. Determination. Back to Branch. Feeding Alger. Crenshaw overlapping, but instead it goes back. Tried to hit Crenshaw, but it falls instead to McGann. McGann hustling. McGann, will she uncork? Nope, tried to chip it to Squires. Gaffney just at the top of the 18. Hancock versus Squires. And Hancock wins that battle. If you're just now joining us, no score, but many opportunities. Minnesota has had more looks as they've tried to strike from long distance almost exclusively in this half. Meanwhile, Morgan Weaver hit the post back in the 20th minute. She's also had a couple of close calls. Esquire can't contain that one. An unforced error for Minnesota. Squires is Minnesota's leading returning goal scorer. She put 8 in the back of the net last year. Gaffney slipped, lost the touch. Here comes Pulver. Tried to squeeze it to Sullivan, and Pulver gets it back. Finds Gomera Stevens. And instead, that is knocked away. Tori Burnett from Minnesota getting after defensively. Makame Gomera Stevens. Diedrich on the collection. Finding Crenshaw. Todd Schulenberger says that Gomera Stevens' play reminds him of Caitlin Johnson. She certainly plays with an edge. We've seen a little bit of that. A couple of chances that we've had to see her so far in this match. Her first name is, she goes by Makamai, but her full first name is 25 letters long. I'm going to try this. I might regret this. Kapua Makamai Mala Mao Nalani. I think I got it. So you can see why everyone pretty much refers to her as Maka. I'm thinking of doing the same thing. And no, I'm not saying that again. Chip towards the penalty spot in Squires' direction, but Washington State gets ahead on it. Another slip for Minnesota. So a couple of those, one from Squires and now this one from Magan. Towards Maka. Maka might have some time, instead she's taken down just outside of the box. No whistle. Gomera Stevens trying to find a way to the ball. Burnett first impeding. And then a bit of a poke and perhaps a bit of contact as well. Would have been outside of the box anyway. Veteran Savvy winning the day there. Squires tried the through ball to Magan, couldn't find it past Hancock. Sullivan. The flag isn't up. Sullivan, the touch too hard, wiped out by Burnett. Corner kick coming up for the Cougs. Sullivan had time and space, but the touch was too strong. Just could not quite contain it. Which is tough to do, sprinting full speed, but that touch just too strong. Making it easy for Tori Burnett to come in and wipe out the play. Juliana Gurnis in the game for Minnesota. You can hear the fans on their feet. And now a hush falls over Lower Soccer Field. The corner kick on the way. Penalty spot. Headed out by Burnett. Chasing it down Squires. But Wilden keeps it alive. In traffic. And played back to Branch. Gurnis challenging. In Pulver's direction. O'Neal fights off Koenig. Megan O'Neal was Pac-12 All-Academic Honorable Mention last season. The only under-17 player from Eastern Washington to try out for the national team. There's Megan O'Neal, the junior from Spokane, Washington. Has yet to score a goal in her Washington State career. She and Maddie Harrow are actually roommates, and they actually have matching tattoos. Maddie Gaffney to throw it in for Minnesota. Tamaka chipped it to Pulver, but instead it's taken away by Minnesota. Good idea. Crenshaw just keeps it in bounds. Well done by Kelsey Crenshaw. One of the veterans of a back line that's full of savvy and experience. Crenshaw helping to make that play. She actually has a sister now on this team, Gabriella, a freshman on this squad. Squires. Nope. And O'Neal ends up with it, setting it up. There's the poke towards Alger. Trying to fight off Gaffney. Alger still going. The spin. The poke towards the penalty spot at Kamara Stevens' feet. Tries to turn, can't get off a clean shot. Now the opportunities are starting to go in Washington State's direction. But they can't quite find the finishing touch. Poked out of bounds by Hannah Goff. And that's one of the things that Todd Schulenberger wants to see from his team this year, to be tidier in front of goal. Can they make their shots count? Instead of just launching them without any real rhyme or reason. They seem to have been a bit more efficient in that area so far this evening. But they have not been able to find a finishing touch to this point as we close in on 70 minutes of play. Nor has Minnesota. Elise Bennett, a freshman from Wisconsin, coming back into the game, replacing Makamai Gomera Stevens. Bennett's been very active in this, her collegiate debut. Unforced error by Washington State, Minnesota ball. Washington State picked to finish 7th in the preseason poll this year, tied for 7th with Washington. The consensus seems to be that it's going to be Stanford and UCLA at the top, but after that, it'll be anyone's game after that. It should be wide open from the 3rd spot on down. UCLA is loaded. Stanford returning Andy Sullivan, who had that injury at the end of last year. Cal will be very dangerous too. And don't forget Utah. Rich Manning knows how to prepare his ball club, and they've got some players. You might not necessarily know quite a lot about them, but you look up and they're getting the result in your own park. Pac-12 promises to be strong once again this year. Then again, this is the conference that boasts the reigning national champion as USC wears the crown, completing their conquest. Nikki Albrecht plays it ahead to Sydney Squires. Squires again. Switching field. Skips off of Pulver's foot, trying to find it. Instead, it goes back to Minnesota. Fiedler. Is she going to launch? Tripped up just outside the box. Pulver whistled for the foul. So Minnesota setting things up. Heslin. Looks like she will take the free kick. Might want to mark off that 10-yard wall. There we go. There's Heslin. In 8th grade, she had surgery for a rare joint condition in her knee, but has had no setbacks since. And that one's too strong. Heslin says she's pretty good at shooting the ball. I mean, she only had one goal, as we talked about at the top of the show. Just one goal last year. It was in the Big Ten title game. But don't be fooled. She's got a rocket of a foot. Showed a little bit of it there. Junior from Woodbury, Minnesota. As you would expect, Minnesota with plenty of kids from the land of 10,000 lakes. A couple from Wisconsin as well. But they also have a couple players from right here in the state of Washington as well. Backup keeper Maddie Nielsen from Shoreline, Washington. And Mia Powers from Seattle. So Stephanie Golan kind of making some inroads in Pac-12 country. Then again, Todd Schulenberger came into Wisconsin and got Elise Bennett, so there you have it. Pulver working hard again. And nobody home off the foot of Koenig. Koenig making her first ever start in her Minnesota career. She's a senior. To Albrecht. Out of bounds, Washington State ball. Hannah Goff, freshman from Corona, California. She wants to earn a league title. She says right off the bat she wants to be part of a Cougar squad that wins the Pac-12. As Gurnis let it go, but it was impeded by her own player, Koenig. Gophers still have a chance. Squires the turn. She lets it loose. And it's too strong. Well, the first shot was snuffed out by friendly fire. As Gurnis was blocked off by Koenig. Squires able to try to get a second look at it, but nope. Send it over the top. 11th shot of the night for Minnesota. As we are 75 minutes into this contest, the season opener between Minnesota and Washington State. Scoreless to this point. Glad you're with us here on the Pac-12 Network. Troy Clarity here in Pullman, along with our fantastic and wonderful Pac-12 Network crew. They were dodging the construction folks here earlier this afternoon, trying to get everything set up while the construction crew was painting and hammering and doing all the things they needed to do to get this place game ready. The improvements also included a new press box, which for my own selfish purposes is very nice to see. It has that new press box smell to it too. Wait, that's just the paint. Goff to Bennett. Goff again tries the feeder instead of Alger. It's Peterson who ends up with it. Minnesota, so good defensively last year. We told you about their accomplishments last season, just allowing 3 goals in Big Ten regular season play. And even without Rashida Beal, still with Tori Burnett, still with Maddie Gaffney, the 2 seniors along the back line, which we've had to deal with Elise Bennett. She's been a handful. But also Emily Peterson and the youngster Nikki Albrecht. That 4 has played well. So is Washington State's back line for the most part, too. Kelsey Crenshaw part of that effort, along with Jordan Branch. Grace Hancock has made plays throughout the evening, which is a very welcome sight for Washington State. Maddie Harlow's had her moments, too. Hannah Goff heads back to the bench. Chelsea Harkins back in the match. Harkins, a senior from British Columbia. Interesting note on Chelsea Harkins, her mom and her stepdad have combined to run 13 Ironman triathlons. 13! That's 1,828 miles of running, swimming, and biking. To put that in perspective, it is 1,821 miles from Pullman to Chicago. If I got to go that far, I'm getting on a plane. Crenshaw wipes out that play. Wart Fiedler. And a corner kick is coming up. Crenshaw, one of the most steady, one of the most consistent, one of the most durable. And she actually even increased her fitness over this offseason. That all according to Todd Schulenberger, the Washington State head coach. A senior from Marysville, Washington. Scored just one goal in her career. That was against UW a couple of years ago. Burnett, the corner kick. A Whistler to the top of the box, and that one's blocked. Albrecht challenged. Blocked by Washington State. Crenshaw coming in, starting it off. Turning on the Jets, Bennett, but that will get to Sharp first. Nice header by Crenshaw, good form. Skips beyond Jordan Branch, and Crenshaw has to play it back. Dieterich challenged, and able to get it away and keep it away from April Bakken. Play back to Kaylee Sharp, perhaps not the best clear. She is better with her feet than Tara Hobbs, the former goalkeeper, the 4-year starter for Minnesota, who graduated at the end of last year. She is better with her feet. Perhaps not the best indication of that. Morgan Weaver back in the match for Washington State. That is a welcome sign for the Cougs. Perhaps the closest chance that the Cougs have had so far in this match is when Weaver hit the post from outside the 18 in the 20th minute. Harkins sends it in that direction. O'Neal winning it back. But here come the Gophers, feeding Bakken. Bakken looking for options. Doesn't have many. And that dies on the foot of Jordan Branch. Trying to beat that high line, not quite enough on that one. Fiedler takes a spill. Weaving through the middle is Pulver. Pulver getting it back. Weaver calls for it. She finally gets it, but she's well offsides. Good idea. It's good to be a step ahead, but perhaps not a step beyond. Weaver was. Todd Schulenberger looking on, directing traffic. Certainly a confidence and a swagger when you talk to Todd Schulenberger about his team. And he's very happy about being able to stabilize things with this program, with all the head coaching change that they had for a period of time, as he's now in his third year here in Pullman. But he likes where this program is right now. That said, he'd love for them to make sure that they win the region, win the Northwest, and then compete extremely well against the California schools. Put it all together and end up back in the NCAA tournament and make a big run. Those are the things on Todd Schulenberger's to-do list. Dieterich with the catch, but that ball may have just trickled out of bounds just before the shot. Substitutions for Minnesota. Koenig out. Athena Kuhn, the freshman from Colorado Springs, coming in. Kuhn with a decorated club career and was also all-state cross country. Bakken trying to turn. Pulver won't let her. Good battle there. Bumped off by Branch. And a challenge. Perhaps no whistle, yes. Kelly McGon, the senior from Apple Valley, Minnesota, first cousins with former Gopher great Simone Colander. They actually lived close to each other and went trick-or-treating together. And they actually would love to move to California and start an event planning business. Colander, one of the strong personalities and great players the Gophers graduated from last year. Sharp able to clear that potential opportunity for the Cougs. Bumped, contact, whistle. Kuhn, perhaps the reckless abandon that she is known for this Minnesota coaching staff, perhaps getting a bit of the best of her there. Take a look at the setup. Just inside the top of the 18. Pulver got a head on it. Wilden settles. Dispossessed by Minnesota. A bump by Crenshaw. 5 minutes to go in regulation. Sharp comes off her line and makes the catch on a couple of hops. With Bennett not far behind. Boy, Crenshaw and McGon as both went up for it, and Crenshaw won. Off the foot and the chance for Minnesota. Bakken shoots, misses wide left. Bakken with the breakaway. Had everything she wanted and could not get it on frame. Had the look, had the space, but did not have the accuracy on the shot. Stephanie Golan saying, oh man, that would have been nice to have. Can Bennett turn on the Jets? She can. She gets there. Sends it towards the penalty spot. Spills off of Sharp, but she's able to get it back. Cool, calm, and collected. Kaylee Sharp makes the play here. Terrific idea by Bennett, but no one was home. Wilden was beyond everyone, but no one was going directly to goal. That's headed out of bounds. Time running short here in regulation. Kaylee Sharp, making her collegiate debut, had 3 saves in the 2 exhibitions for Minnesota against Creighton and Kansas State. You old school Viking fans might recognize this name. Kaylee Sharp's uncle is Grady Alderman, played offensive line for the Vikings from 1961 to 74. Vikings had some pretty darn good teams back in those days. Here's Makamai Gomera Stevens back in the contest, replacing Elise Bennett. Gomera Stevens from Hawaii. Todd Schulenberger says she has a blue-collar Hawaiian mentality. And became a bit of a fan favorite with her style of play. We've seen glimpses of it, just a flash here or there. Seems to have a knack for finding the open space, for weaving with the ball, and trying to make a play. Kuhn. Motors running for Minnesota. But instead, Washington State with a potential chance has Crenshaw outside. She has it. Taken away by Kelly McGon from out of nowhere. And now McGon is weaving. O'Neal puts a stop to that. Fiedler. Far side. Skips hard off of Heslin's foot. And cleared out of the park by Jordan Branch. Branch has held it together, along with the rest of the Washington State back line, Crenshaw, Grace Hancock, and Maddie Hara. As now we have 1 minute remaining in regulation. Weldon. Taken away from Gamera Stevens, and a bit of a tussle at midfield. We play on, and the throw-in forthcoming. That'll go in Minnesota's direction. Clock ticking. To the corner, out of bounds, and the final seconds run off, and that is how regulation ends. Many chances for Minnesota and Stephanie Golan, a few chances as well for Washington State. Neither team can convert, and we will return for overtime in just a few moments. We are scoreless here from Pullman. Washington State versus number 19 Minnesota. It's been tight, it's been hard contested, it's been physical, and it's had some moments of thrills and spills as well. And guess what? We've got more overtime from Pullman coming up in just a moment.
The Tom Hansen Medal winner for Outstanding Senior Female Student Athlete at Washington State is rowing's Nicole Hare. Originally from Alberta, Canada, Hare rowed for her country in the 2016 Rio Olympics and won gold at the Under-23 World Rowing Championships.
It's amazing. Honestly, like, the pride that you have, it's so surreal, and being able to represent your country at the highest level against the best in the world is something that you can't explain it.
Hare has rowed her entire career in the Varsity 8 boat, earning CRCA second-team All-America honors in 2014 and 2015. The Cougars were nationally ranked throughout her entire senior season and finished 4th at the 2017 Clemson Invitational and 14th at the NCAA Championships. A marketing major, Hare is a two-time member of the Pac-12 All-Academic First Team and was 3 times selected as a CRCA National Scholar Athlete. Exhibiting the greatest combination of performance and achievement in athletics, scholarship, and leadership at Washington State, Nicole Hare is the pride of the Pac.
$90 minutes, not enough on the Palouse. We are scoreless at the end of regulation. Number 19 Minnesota and Washington State on a gorgeous night here in Pullman. Plenty of chances for both teams in the second half, but certainly Washington State with their opportunities throughout much of the second half. Makamara Stevens with the touch too strong. McKenna Sullivan has space and time, but she makes it just a bit too strong as well. It's swatted away by Tori Burnett. Great idea here by Elise Bennett, but instead thwarted and spilled and taken by Kaylee Sharp. So Washington State has had opportunities, and they're going to try to find a way to solve the puzzle of the Minnesota back line, which likes to play high. We haven't exactly seen them try to exploit that as much as I thought we would, but still, let's see what happens and see what adjustments the Cougars make as we move on into overtime. Speaking of overtime, in case you're not familiar, here are the rules. There are 2 10-minute periods. If necessary, we play them both. If no one scores, the game ends in a tie. If someone scores, it's sudden victory. It's a golden goal, and everybody goes home. Here in Pullman, if the Cougars score, I'm sure that they'll make the Cougars fans go home happy. We are coming up on yet another incredible season in the Pac-12. Last year, of course, was incredible, with USC winning the national championship. The preseason conference poll coming into this one, as we talked about earlier, Stanford is almost the consensus number one at the top of the poll, and UCLA. Those are the two teams that, as of right now, look to be the most ready to compete for the top spot in the conference. But the gap between the top two and almost everybody else in the conference is not that wide. Certainly, perhaps, between number 3 and number 7, where Washington State is tied for 7th, along with the Huskies, in the Pac-12 preseason poll. Defending national champs getting their season off on the right foot as they knocked off UC Davis earlier today, 2-1. You saw that match here on the Pac-12 Network. And you see Morgan Weaver there. An interesting evening for her. She hit the post in the 20th minute and had a couple of other close calls in the first half as well. However, she came off the field, came off the pitch for a moment or so throughout much of the second half. And had a bit of a hitch in her get-along. She was limping around a little bit. Came off for a few minutes, came back on late in the second half. And she might not be feeling 100% at this point. So we'll see what she's able to contribute here as we begin overtime. Molly Fiedler enjoying things here with the Golden Gophers. She's ready. We hope you are too. Off we go. Overtime between the Gophers and the Cougars. Troy Clarity with you from Lower Soccer Field in Pullman, Washington. Thought it would be a tight game. Thought it would be hotly contested. Thought it would be a battle. And as if on cue, you see the proof there. As Nummerdor gets a bit mixed up with Maddie Harrell. Nummerdor, the freshman, and Maddie Harrell trying to fight her off. Bit of a little trip up there. Ahead, but beyond Wilden's range. Sharp collects right at the top of the 18. Washington State played in their share of close games last season. They had 12 matches that were decided by 1 goal, and they were 5-7 in those matches. The 5's not bad, but the 7 were a bit problematic for the Cougs last year. So many close calls against the upper echelon teams in the Pac-12, against Cal, against Stanford. Could not quite find the right touch to close out the deal. We saw Maddie Harrell taking position front post. April Bakken to take the corner kick for Minnesota. Cleared away by the Cougs. Gamera Stevens came in to try to save it. Instead, chips it outside. Chips it out of bounds. fighting, and a whistle. It will go in Washington State's direction. Memerdor, freshman from Wisconsin. She is a threat from 25 yards in. Saw her in the first half. Don't believe we saw her in the second half, but she's back for overtime. We welcome those of you who just finished watching UCLA and San Diego State. We're in Pullman as we are watching a scoreless game here and early in overtime between Minnesota and Washington State. Troy Clarity here with you as April Bakken lets loose, and that was well off the mark. Washington State and Minnesota battling to a scoreless result to this point as we are now in the 94th minute. Minnesota with more chances in the second half. Washington State pretty much had run of play in the first 15 minutes, including Morgan Weaver, who hit the post in the 20th minute. And each team has, for the most part, been trading close opportunities for much of the evening, looking for someone to break through. And if someone breaks through in either this overtime period or the second one, they will end up in the win column for the first time today, for the first time this season, I should say. Minnesota, the reigning Big Ten champion. They won both the regular season and the conference tournament as well. Ranked number 19 in the coaches' poll. Stephanie Golan looking on, the Minnesota head coach. She feels good about this squad and what they might be able to accomplish this season. Still looking to establish a bit of an identity after losing 4 players who formed so much of their core from last season. But she likes the start that they've gotten off to in that respect so far this season. Maddie Harrow to throw it in for the Washington State Cougars, who missed the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2010 last year. Looking to get back in the big dance. Takedown, midfield, we play on. Bakken giving chase. Diederich with the clear. And that just stayed in bounds. Almost breaking the laws of physics. Big collision. That's Kuhn. Clobbers Harrow. Harrow might be a bit of the worse for wear. Harrow was losing her footing even before absorbing the impact from Athena Kuhn. And she gets some help from a couple of Cougs. Get back to her feet, Jordan Branch and Megan O'Neill. Now a couple of trainers coming out as well to make sure Harrow's okay. Harrow, a junior from Corona, California. No surprise that Megan O'Neill is out to make sure she's okay. They are roommates. They live together. And so Harrow heads off the pitch. Here at Lower Soccer Field, which has been renovated and revamped. Brand new press box, extended the bleacher seating sections. They will be adding concessions and restrooms. In the next couple of weeks, those not quite functional as of yet. The Lower Soccer Field more than game ready, and they are packed in here. Trying to see if the Cougs can get it done here tonight. Meanwhile, the Gophers want to spoil the party. Off the foot of Bakken. Wilden, the momentary settle, sends it off towards Weaver. Morgan Weaver. Weaver. Setting up Kamara Stevens, instead chipped out by Gaffney. Harrow still in the game. Weaver trying to settle a bit beyond her reach. And a tussle just at the top of the lip. It's been that kind of game for both teams. You've just seen it here on both ends. Hasn't been easy. Washington State will certainly make you earn everything that you get. Evened up in fouls for both teams, 10 apiece. Outside, Albrecht finding Gurnis. To Bakken. Making the run, Heslin. Heslin sent out of bounds by Branch. She was right there. Branch has been on the spot for much of the evening. Right place, right time, once again. As Heslin tried to give her teammates a chance, or at least make Diederich work for it. Instead, off of the foot of Branch, and another corner kick for Minnesota. From Bakken, beyond Diederich's range, and the volley attempt is wide. Diederich not very happy. She thought that she might have been contacted a little bit in the box. And didn't get a whistle for her efforts. Having a word with the official. Looks like we've reached an understanding. Substitution for Washington State, Elise Bennett, one of the many freshmen who have made contributions to Washington State already in this season opener, replacing Shayna Wilden. Some big early tests for Washington State. Minnesota tonight, they're ranked number 19th, and they've got St. Mary's coming here next week. And then they turn around and they head off to the Bay Area to face Santa Clara, currently ranked number 24 in the polls, on August the 27th. One of the things that Todd Schulenberger is definitely going to be watching early on is whether his team can put one in the back of the net early in the season and perhaps get some goal scoring started and carry them the rest of the way. Give them the scoring touch that they lacked for much of last season. So far, we haven't seen that scoring touch from anyone. We have 2 minutes remaining in the first overtime period. Scoreless on the Palouse. Kaylee Sharp making her collegiate debut, the junior from Colorado. And she's played well for the most part. No handball call. Washington State was looking for one, but a rule continuation. Gamera Stevens finding Harkins. Can she get there? Nope. Spins out of bounds along the baseline. Maka Gamera Stevens. So much fun to watch. Megan Koenig coming back in for Minnesota. Replacing Athena Kuhn. Gamera Stevens scored 27 goals as a high school senior in Hawaii. As we are inside the final minute of the first overtime period. Crenshaw trying to get a touch and kind of wrapped an arm around the Gopher. You can't do that. That'll be a foul every time. A little takedown there by Crenshaw. Restart. Off we go. Snuffed out by Washington State. Weaver. Poked away by Peterson. Finds Gurnis. To the corner. That's back up to the top of the 18. Perhaps another chance for Minnesota. Can't get it off. Blocked by Harkins. And the first overtime period comes to an end. A fairly frenetic finish to the first overtime period, but that flurry results in nothing. Speaking of nothing, that's what we have on the scoreboard right now, and we'll need a second overtime to decide things here from Pullman.
Ted Basler, President and CEO, Ste. Michelle Wine Estates. Today, we're the third largest premium wine company in the U.S. What I love about my job is that it's agriculture, it's business, it's art and science, and it's very dynamic and a wonderful industry. I had a degree from WSU in communications. I wanted to be an advertising guy until I became a wine guy, which is even better. Last year, we opened the doors of a $23 million facility, the Saint Michel Wine Estates WSU Wine Science Center. Every great wine region in the world has a world-class facility for research and education, and now WSU has one. Ted Basler, class of 1976, go Cougs.
Well, the party continues on the Palouse as we continue overtime, and we need a second 10-minute period to decide things here on the Palouse. Students have not left. We are glad that you've decided to hang out with us here too. Troy Clarity here from Pullman. Both teams have gone back and forth throughout the entire evening. Washington State with perhaps a bit of an advantage early on. Minnesota has shown some flashes throughout much of this contest as well, particularly throughout the early part of the second half. Stephanie Golan, the Minnesota head coach, you see her in the white cap with some words of wisdom for her squad. And there's Morgan Weaver coming back onto the pitch. Golan in her 6th year at Minnesota. Was the former head coach at Army at West Point from 2009 to 2011. And interestingly enough, even though, as I chatted with her in preparation for this match, obviously Minnesota and Washington State don't play each other very often. This is the first time that they've played each other in 15 years. But she noted that in preparation for this match, a few years ago, Minnesota played Texas Tech back when Todd Schulenberger was on their staff. So she was able to glean some things from the course of that game to perhaps help her in preparation for this match. Meanwhile, Todd Schulenberger still looking to find a way to get his team in the back of the net and to make the fans here at Lower Soccer Field very, very happy and to get his season off to a good start. He wants to get off on the right foot. We mentioned that they're playing 2 ranked opponents in the first 3 matches, and he wants to get things started this year and start off the road back to the NCAA tournament. We're back in action here in Pullman. The second overtime period is underway. In the corner. And out of bounds. There's a goal kick coming up now for Washington State. Cougs will also face Nebraska, Georgia Southern, Cal State Northridge, Utah Valley, and Montana to close out their non-conference slate before Pac-12 play begins on September the 21st. That game will be here on the Pac-12 network when the Stanford Cardinal come calling to Pullman. I'll be back here for that. Looking forward to it. Beyond Squire's head. Squire's trying to settle. O'Neal able to keep it away from Gurnis. And Butch T. Cougar can't make the catch just underneath us. And he is disconsolate. That's okay, Butch. You're still cool. Weaver's been a bit of a struggle for her physically throughout the second half and in the overtime portion of this game. As that one goes out of bounds. When the ball is at her feet, she is dynamite to watch. Gamera Stevens, she's pretty dynamite too. Finds Bennett along the baseline, didn't have an option. Instead had to play it back. Peterson versus Bennett. Sidney Pulver, a freshman, who's had an impact in this match. Can't control it. Burnett sends that one towards Moscow, Idaho. And that might be a throw-in for Washington State. It will be. Over 2,100 fans here at Lower Soccer Field taking in this match. Many of them on the berm behind the goal. Of course, many more of them taking advantage of the extended bleachers section here at Lower Soccer Field, part of the renovations that are almost complete. Trickles out beyond the back line. And a corner kick is the call. Maddie Gaffney can't believe it. She's not very happy about that at all. Gaffney very displeased at that decision by the referee. Meanwhile, Chelsea Harkins sizing up the corner kick opportunity, making sure that the turf is in good condition. It is. Places everyone in the mixer, but headed out by Minnesota. Lee Burnett got a hand on it, or a head on it rather. Harkins was marked before she could completely settle it. Cougs were 8-3-1 at home last year. They did a great job of protecting Lower Soccer Field. Tamara Stevens might have deked herself there a bit. And now here come the Gophers. Scrambling. Beating her to the ball and now sending it towards Bennett, trying to find a place. Pope just deflected by Sharp. Bennett with the chance, but I believe Sharp just got a piece of it to deflect it and send it outside. Now the Gophers. Jordan Branch wins that race. And a hard tackle by Koenig. Let's take a look at the last opportunity for Washington State. Bennett, nope, it didn't even touch Sharp at all. It just took a funny hop on the skip off of the grass. Took a funny spin there. Sharp so far has survived her collegiate debut to this point, but she's certainly not out of the woods yet. With less than 5 minutes remaining in this match. Nice shield by Peterson. A bump off by Gamera Stevens. Winning the ball. Bennett couldn't find the poke. And here comes a whistle and a yellow card for Megan O'Neill. Molly Fiedler slowly rising to her feet. And here it comes, as O'Neill didn't get any portion of the ball at all. Sending Fiedler sprawling to the turf. And that will be a yellow pretty much every time. Sharp to start things off for the Gophers. She's looking around trying to figure out where to go with it. And we also have a bit of a mini conference between Emily Heslin and the referee. Now we're ready. Cougs throw it in, aiming towards Bennett, but beyond her. Peterson misses the clearance. Bennett and Peterson both go sprawling to the turf. And Bennett hangs in there, ball out of bounds. Minnesota will throw it in. Boy, what a battle on both sides there as that unfolded. Bennett, the freshman, and Emily Peterson, the junior. Neither would be denied. This, of course, the part of the game where it just gets so much tougher from a physical standpoint. You've been out there running around for so long. There's been a cool breeze throughout much of the evening. It was 80 degrees at the start, 77 degrees at second half kickoff. But still, you've been out there on that pitch for so long. We've seen Morgan Weaver struggle, even though she almost came away with that ball. But we've seen her struggle throughout the second half. And the physical struggle becomes more of a mental struggle as well. So many times, it could come down to just one mental lapse in the final moments of the second overtime. Sent towards the 18. Cleaned up by Branch. Just beyond Bennett and just in front of Weaver. Now here's Bennett. Bennett lets it go, and Sharp on a hop. 2 minutes to go. Pulver has it bounce and taken on a couple of hops by Sharp once more. Aiming for Squires. Squires made that a bit more interesting. She's trying to keep it in bounds along the corner, and she does. Almost got past Haro, but Haro able to let it go. And a whistle along that baseline. It will be a free kick for Washington State. And you see the physical toll that this game is taken. Both teams have worked extremely hard. You'd expect nothing less between Minnesota and Washington State with the way these two teams play. But boy, it has not been easy. Less than 1 minute to go in the second overtime period. It's been a battle. But not quite over yet. Weaver breaking free. Weaver. Just wide of the net. Morgan Weaver fighting for space and time. She got it. She had the look, but couldn't send it home. Can Minnesota mount a final flurry? Or will Washington State get another chance? Clock ticking. Inside 20 seconds to go. Swiped away by Gurnis. Harkins collects. Outside Crenshaw. Chipper towards Bennett. Bennett coming up. Sharp makes the save. And that is how this game comes to an end. A back and forth battle that took just about everything out of everyone. But it ends in a scoreless tie. Number 19, Minnesota 0. Washington State 0. Neither team able to get the result that they wanted in this one tonight. As Minnesota will try to get in the win column. They have a quick turnaround as they head to Monday and host North Dakota State, while Washington State hosts St. Mary's next Friday. Let's take you to that final sequence where Morgan Weaver had one final chance to win this game outright for Washington State. fighting off Gaffney, finding space and time, uncorking the low bouncer, but just wide of the net and beyond the reach of Kaylee Sharp. And that, in a nutshell, pretty much sums up how this game went. Back and forth between both squads, but neither team could find the back of the net when it really mattered most. As mentioned, Washington State, up next for them, they host St. Mary's next week. We'd like to thank those of you who watched this whole thing and those of you who just joined us along the way, and certainly I'd like to thank our entire Pac-12 Network crew. They've been outstanding. I'm Troy Clarity. Good night from Pullman, Washington, and thank you for watching Pac-12 Women's Soccer here on Pac-12 Washington and the Pac-12 Network. Our final score here from Pullman, 19th ranked Minnesota 0 and Washington State 0. Thank you again for watching here tonight from Pullman on the Pac-12 Network.
This is the 67th meeting all-time between the Cougars and the Cardinal. Stanford has owned the series as of late, winning 8 consecutive games. Stanford has won the toss, and they will receive. Eric Powell will kick it away. Must be a special night. Black on black with black helmets for Stanford tonight. Powell puts the football in the air. And there is Christian McCaffrey from his own end zone. McCaffrey out past the 20, finds a seam, and he is brought down to the 35. There are a couple of flags, and that's how we'll start the night. The kick of Powell made the stop. Say hi to Terry Lydon, our referee tonight.
During the return, holding. Number 8 of the return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down, Stanford.
First and 10 from their own 10-yard line after the penalty marker. And Burns will throw on first down. And will complete. Hits his first pass to Dalton Schultz, the tight end. On 2nd and 5 now out at the 15. Burns, quick pass, able to complete for the short gain, maybe one to Trenton Irwin. Marcellus Pippins came up to make the stop. Here's 3rd down and 5. First big play of the game from the Cardinal 15. Burns, good pocket around him, has all sorts of time. And now Burns on the move. He'll take a big hit and maybe gain a yard on the play, and it'll bring up 4th down. Bailey gets it away. Fossum will come up and make the fair catch at the 38-yard line. They've got 3 tailbacks we'll watch for. Jamal Morrow and James Williams being 2 of them. And they're in it right now. But Falk's going to throw. Intercepted! He's picked off clean. It's Dallas Lloyd who makes the interception. First turnover of the game goes to the Cardinal.
You know, Steve, I think the pressure affected him. You watch him get some pressure right up the middle. You see Stanford bring it. Now 29 Lloyd is just standing in the middle there. And Falk just threw it. I don't think he saw Lloyd at all. He's looking to his left. When he comes back, he gets pressure. Has no idea Lloyd is sitting there waiting for that.
Lloyd, the quiet leader of that secondary. That's his 2nd interception of the season. And as you can see by the target line, they're almost already at field goal range. Here's Burns in some trouble. He is tripped up from behind by Hercules Matafa after a gain of 1 yard. Here's 2nd down and 9. And Burns will hand it off to McCaffrey. He's swung around by Matafa again. Here's Burns. You can see they're already what we suspect is field goal range. Here's 3rd and 6. Burns out of the gun. Washington State rushing just 3. Now the pocket collapses, and he'll throw it away. The pressure there coming from Daniel Equale. This would be a 50-yard field goal attempt. His career long is 52. Hit from 50 this season once before. Bit of a high snap. And it's going to be close. Off the upright and no good. Conrad Ukropina from 50 can't squeeze it through. Hand off to Gerard Wicks. He's the ball carrier. Gain of 3 on the play. On 2nd down and 7. Quick hitter handoff. And the first down. Gerard Wicks. That last gain of 10 gives him a fresh set of downs. Here's Falk now. Feeling some pressure, trying to run up the middle, and he is swallowed up before he could get back to the original line of scrimmage. James Williams, the setback. Falk's looking his way and finds Williams. He's able to break one tackle but not another. And he's just shy of midfield. Frank Buncombe and Mike Tyler bringing them down together. Looking right, throwing that way the whole time. Looking for Gabe Marks. Looks like it went off of Marks' fingertips. And it'll be a punt situation for the Cougars. Zach Charmy is set to punt for Washington State. As you might expect, Christian McCaffrey is back. Some pressure on Charmy. Just barely got it away. And McCaffrey will let it bounce. And it takes a Cougs bounce inside the 15-yard line.
You're watching Pac-12 Washington, home of the Washington State Cougars and the Washington Huskies. Available on Xfinity.
Hi, I'm Casey Hughes, University of Utah football. I play defensive back. I was originally born in California. I got into football and my dad seen that I was fast, so he decided to take me to the park to sign me up for football. Being a student athlete means being the student first and the athlete second. Academics always come first in this program. They promise you that you're going to get a major, and that's the right thing to do. For the most part, I'm not really dependent on the NFL right now. My first choice is my academics, and I hope my major get me real far in life. The person that inspired me the most is my dad. He always there for me. He sacrificed everything he got to do for me, and I just want to give it all back to him. Casey Hughes, University of Utah, defensive back, go Utes.
Possession for the Cardinal with Ryan Burns at quarterback. They have not accomplished much. And on first down, when in doubt, give it to Christian McCaffrey, and that goes for a loss. Some movement there to see if the Cougs jump.
Offside. Number 50 of the defense causing a player to react. 5-yard penalty, first down. Correction, second down.
On 2nd and 5. Quick hitter out into the flat. Able to complete to Love. Off the play fake. Burns throwing and completing. Good job by Michael Rector to come back to the football. And Darian Moulton forced him out. 6 minutes left to play here in the first. Scoreless from the farm. And McCaffrey again can't get free. Maybe a yard, Q. On 2nd and 9. A little issue with the snap there. And Burns is going to absorb a big hit. Frankie Louvu put the knock on the quarterback of the Cardinal.
You know, this Washington State defense has performed a lot better the last couple of weeks. Now, you see this mistake here, just drops the snap. But remember the opening 2 games, they didn't play well against Eastern Washington, didn't play well against Boise State, and then Mike Leach called them out. Said they were soft. Said the entire team was soft. Called them a JV softball team.
That's hardcore.
I don't think JV softball teams are like that.
Here's 3rd and 13 now coming up. They picked up the blitz. Burns airs it out. Look, a little back shoulder from Michael Rector. Could not connect. Marcellus Pippins on the coverage, and the Cardinal left the punt. Jake Bailey in punt formation. Bailey will get it away. It's a good punt. Let's see how good. Not good enough. Handoff and a big run there from Jamal Morrow. Right through the